All right, so get this here. Imagine, a sweet little old granny on the phone for hours, and it's not with her grandkids, it's with scammers, and she is driving them crazy.
Oh, wow. That's kind of a fun twist on the usual narrative, isn't it? We always think about, older people being vulnerable to scams.
Right.
This is turning the tables.
Yeah. Meet Daisy. She's an AI chatbot, and she was created by Virgin Media O2. That's a UK telecom company. And they designed her to sound and act like a real granny.
I see.
Specifically to keep scammers on the line.
Oh, wow.
And waste their time.
So it's like, I guess this tactic is called, scam baiting, is that right?
Yeah, scam baiting.
Yeah, and it's really starting to gain some traction as a way to fight back against these fraudulent operations.
Oh, we're not just here for a good chuckle today, okay? You sent me a whole bunch of articles from CBS, CNN, Euronews. We even had one from the New York Times. So we are going to use this deep dive to really explore a few things, like how big of a problem are phone scams? How is AI changing this whole landscape of scamming? And are these tactics, like with Daisy, are they actually effective?
Yeah, I think it's really important to understand the bigger picture here. We really are seeing kind of an evolution in the way that scams operate.
Right.
And also how we try to stop them. And it seems that AI is really becoming like a key player on both sides.
Yeah, it really is. So let's dive into the problem first, okay? The Global Anti-Scam Alliance reported that consumers lost, get this, over $1 trillion. That's a trillion with a T.
Wow.
To online scams. And this was just in the past year.
Those numbers are really alarming.
Yeah.
And it really just highlights how huge this problem is. And of course, the devastating impact that it has financially all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about this. All those annoying spam calls we get all the time. Truecaller estimates that Americans get an average of 2.9 billion unwanted calls every single month. And that's almost 8 per user.
Yeah. That constant barrage of calls, it's not just annoying. I mean, it can actually desensitize people.
Right.
To the point where they're more vulnerable to falling for these scams.
Yeah.
When they get a call that seems, legitimate because they're just so used to it.
Right. And you're right. Scammers do often prey on the elderly. A University of Portsmouth study found that 2/3 of people over 75 have experienced at least one fraud attempt.
Oh, wow.
In the past 6 months.
It just goes to show you that Daisy's granny persona, that's a really clever strategy.
It is.
Because it plays on exactly what the scammers expect. They think that they're going to get into a conversation that's easy to manipulate.
Right.
But not so much.
Not so much. Okay, so how does Daisy actually work? She uses, I always have trouble with this word, a large language model.
Right.
Which means that she can have conversations that sound incredibly realistic, just like what we're doing right now.
Yeah, and it's not just about, mimicking speech, right?
Right.
Daisy's design actually lets her understand what's happening in the conversation, respond in a way that makes sense, and even throw in those little rambling anecdotes.
Oh, yeah.
That grandmas are known for.
She really gets into character.
She does.
I was reading through the articles and I saw that they mentioned her talking about knitting projects, talking about her cat named Fluffy.
Oh, how cute.
And even pretending to be technologically inept, like she can't even type in www into a web browser.
Oh, that's great. So those are tactics that exploit the scammer's patience, right?
Yeah.
So they get drawn into this time-consuming interaction that doesn't go anywhere for them.
I love that the articles included actual quotes.
Me too.
From these frustrated scammers.
Yeah.
One yelled, "It's nearly been an hour."
Oh my.
And another one actually said, "I think your profession is bothering people."
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Their reactions really show you how effective Daisy's approach is. I mean, it really just throws them off their usual script.
Yeah.
It wastes their time and hopefully keeps them from targeting real victims.
Right, exactly.
So it's great on multiple levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like using their own tactics against them.
Yeah, and it gets even better. She doesn't just chat, she throws in fake information too.
Oh, really? Like what?
Yeah, like made up bank details to really throw those scammers off.
That's brilliant. It makes it really difficult for them to tell if she's real or not.
Right.
And, that can actually help to gather information about how these scammers work.
It could. It really could. Okay, but here's the million-dollar question. Is this a true solution to this phone scam epidemic? Or is this just like a really well-done publicity stunt? What do you think?
It's a great question. And it's one that a lot of people are asking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Daisy has been pretty successful.
Right.
Especially when it comes to keeping scammers on the line. The CNN article mentioned she's keeping them engaged for a really long time, like 40 minutes sometimes.
Wow.
But there's some limitations we should think about.
Yeah, like what?
Well, she can't actually intercept the calls, right?
Oh, so the scammers actually have to call her?
Yeah, they have to call one of her dedicated numbers for this to even work.
Gotcha.
So she's not really stopping the calls from happening. She's just dealing with them once they come in.
And I imagine with the number of scam calls that are happening, even if she's getting thousands of those 40-minute calls, it's probably just a tiny, tiny dent.
Yeah, exactly. It's a question of scale.
Right.
Can this really make a difference to the overall number of scams?
And I was reading one of these articles, and it mentioned that AI-powered scam chatbots are being used on the other side of this as well.
Oh, that's disturbing.
It is. So they're using AI to try and scam people.
Yeah, and that's a trend that we're seeing more and more of.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unsettling.
It is. Because, AI technology is getting so advanced, and it's only a matter of time before criminals try to exploit that.
Yeah, we can't really stop them from doing that.
It feels like a technological arms race.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it.
Where AI is kind of driving things on both sides.
Yeah. And it highlights the fact that this is a moving target. This problem is changing all the time.
Right.
And we have to keep adapting.
Right. We need new defenses all the time.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, there are companies that are trying to protect consumers, right?
Absolutely.
Google's Pixel phones have a call screening feature.
Right.
And it uses AI to analyze the conversations as they're happening.
Hello.
And warn you if it's a potential scam.
That's amazing. So it can actually step in and stop you before something bad happens.
Yeah. That's huge.
That's a game changer.
It is. And it's not just Google. Virgin Media O2 blocked over £250 million last year, which is about $315 million of suspected fraud.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing. And it's good to see these companies taking this seriously and trying to come up with new solutions.
Yeah, it shows that they're really committed to protecting their customers.
Yeah.
And that fraud prevention is a priority for them.
And it's evolving.
Yeah, I mean, as AI keeps getting better,
right,
I think we're going to see even more powerful tools to combat scams.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about Daisy and AI and scams and all that. What can we take away from this? What can our listeners learn from all this about how they should deal with phone calls and online interactions?
I think Daisy's story is a great reminder to always be careful and a little suspicious.
Right.
Especially with those calls or messages that you weren't expecting.
Yeah.
And trust your gut.
Mm-hmm.
If something doesn't feel right, probably not.
Yeah, and Virgin Media O2 gave some good advice that's worth repeating, I think. Never give your personal information like passwords or bank details over the phone.
Yeah.
A real company would never ask you for that kind of stuff on a call.
Nope. You have to be proactive about your own security, learn about common scam tactics.
Right.
Be careful who you trust online, and if you see anything suspicious, report it right away.
Definitely.
Don't wait to call the authorities or the company that's involved.
Here's something to think about. You know how we've been talking about how AI can be used to trick people with those scam bots? Could AI also be the key to protecting us better in the future? Is Daisy like the first step in a whole new era of AI-powered security?
That's a great question to think about. AI could be a really powerful weapon in the fight against fraud.
Right.
But we need to make sure that it's developed and used ethically and responsibly.
Huh.
The future of security might depend on how we use AI.
Yeah, that's a great point to end on. Well, it looks like we've reached the end of our deep dive for today.
Yeah.
Thanks for sending these articles over. This was really eye-opening,
Absolutely. It was a pleasure talking about this with you.
Yeah, always great to dig into these complex topics.
And see what's really going on.
So until next time, everyone, stay vigilant and keep those scam detecting senses sharp.
Absolutely.
If you want to know you have savings are gone, but I can help you.
7 in 10 Brits have been targeted by scammers. And it's not just our grandparents. I was one of them. But this film isn't about getting scammed. This is about getting even. Meet my friend, Daisy.
Hello, scammers. I'm your worst nightmare. I'm an AI created by O2 to waste phone scammers' time. So, W's then a dot.
3 times W and then dot.
I think your profession is bothering people, right?
I'm just trying to have a little chat.
It's nearly been an hour! For the love of...
Gosh, how time flies. It's showing me a picture of my cat, Fluffy.
It's showing you the picture of your cat, Fluffy.
Stop calling me dear, you stupid.
Got it, dear. Because while they're busy talking to me, they can't be scamming you. And let's face it, dear, I've got all the time in the world.
So whilst you're out enjoying life, Daisy and O2 are here fighting scammers, taking calls and wasting hundreds and hundreds of hours of scammers' time. If you want to help Daisy and O2 ruin a scammer's day, you can report scam numbers to 7726. Because you can't do it all on your own, can you, Daisy?
Who says I am, love? Speak soon, scammers.